It had been 13 years since I last saw him, 13 years since the day the rain didn't stop. Since the sky turned to ash and the streets emptied of sound. Everyone thought he was just a boy who vanished, but I remember the last thing he said: "I'll wait right here, no matter how long it takes." And so he stood in the rain and I walked away. I told myself he'd go home. I told myself it wasn't my fault. But now, 13 years later, I've come back to the same street, to the same storm, and I swear I saw him again, still waiting. Take a deep breath. Let the world fall quiet. Let the room you sit in become softer, dimmer, gentler. Let the noise of today fall behind you like a coat you no longer wish to wear. Now imagine the sound of rain against glass, a soft pattering like fingertips tapping gently on a forgotten window pane, the kind of rain that feels like memory, not heavy, not violent, just steady, just there. Like someone who never left. Close your eyes for a moment, feel the air become cool and damp. Let your thoughts drift down an old road, not a road you walk often, not anymore, but one that lives quietly in your heart, a road made of cracked pavement and wet leaves, lined with iron fences and flickering street lamps, the kind of road that holds ghosts gently like a parent who can't quite let go. Now open your eyes again, because we are here, back where it began. The sky is gray. The air smells like rust and wet stone, and at the corner where the old bakery used to be, a boy stands in the rain, still quiet as if 13 years never passed. He wears the same blue jacket, torn at the cuffs, faded at the shoulders. His shoes are muddy, his hair is darker now, but it's him. It's really him. You want to speak, but the words don't come, because memory is louder than language and yours are roaring in your ears. 13 years ago, you were only a child. And so was he. You were both just old enough to understand fear, but not old enough to carry it. You remember the fight. You remember running. You remember turning your back. You remember the rain beginning as he said those words. "I'll wait right here." And he did. He waited, but when you came back the next day, he was gone. And no one ever saw him again. They searched, they questioned, they told you he must have wandered, that no child would stand still for hours in the cold, but you knew better, because he had meant it. He always meant what he said, and when you told him you were coming back, he believed you, even when you didn't believe yourself. Now, here you are, a grown person, a life lived in between, with city lights and jobs and aching backs and sleepless nights, but none of it ever washed away that single truth. You left, he waited, and then he disappeared. But tonight, the sky is the same. The wind is whispering the same tune, and he's there again, not a ghost, not a trick of the light. Real breathing, watching you walk slowly. Your steps sound too loud, as if the rain should have swallowed them, but it doesn't. And as you approach, his eyes meet yours, not angry, not even surprised, just tired, and full of something you can't name. You open your mouth, nothing comes out. He says nothing. You both stand there, to people, strangers, friends, something else entirely. Finally, he speaks. His voice is softer than you remember. Did you forget the way you want to say no? But you did. You forgot it all. You forgot the sound of his laugh, the shape of his hands, the color of the sky. That day you buried it all, because guilt has strong hands, and memory is fragile. "I thought you were gone," you whisper. "I thought you left." He tilts his head, rain slides down his cheeks, but he doesn't wipe it away. "I said I'd wait. I didn't think you meant forever," he shrugs. "I didn't know it would be this long." His voice cracks just slightly, like old wood under weight, but time doesn't feel the same here. You blink. "What do you mean here?" He doesn't answer, just looks past you down the street toward the place the bakery used to be, where the windows are bricked now, and the awning is torn. "You never looked for me," he says. Quietly, that sentence falls between you like a chasm, and you feel yourself step toward it, toward the truth. "I was afraid," you say. "I thought if I went back and you weren't there, it would hurt more than pretending you never waited." He nods. He understands. Of course he does. He always did, but I was there. His voice breaks again. "I was always there. You want to touch him, but something holds you still, because you're not sure if he's made of rain. Or memory, or something else entirely, you ask. Are you real? He smiles, but it's a tired smile. Like someone who's been holding a secret too long, I think. So I've been standing in this place for a long time. I don't remember how I got here. I just remember the promise I'd wait. The streetlight flickers, a wind passes through, carrying the smell of wet earth and distant time. He looks up as if hearing something only he can hear. They're calling me back, he says. And now you feel panic, real immediate. Like you've only just now realized this might be the last moment. No, you say. Please don't. Go, not again. He steps forward, lifts his hand, brushes the wet strands of hair from your forehead. His touch is cold, but not lifeless, not empty. I'm not going far, he says. I just needed to see if you'd come back. I needed to know. You remembered. You grab his wrist. You hold it firm, real, and say, I never forgot. He closes his eyes, takes a breath, and you feel something shift, as if the street bends slightly, as if time exhales, and then he steps back, and with a whisper, he fades, not like smoke, not like a dream, but like light, like something returning to where it belongs. You fall to your knees. The rain kisses your face. The street lamp above hums softly, and on the wet pavement where he stood, something is left to small blue button from the jacket he used to wear. You hold it in your hand. You hold it like it holds the weight of the years, and somehow it does. Behind you, a door opens, someone steps out, and the story has only just begun. The door creaks slowly behind you. You don't turn right away. You're still kneeling, still holding the button, still half inside. That moment, as if turning your head might break it, might confirm that he's truly gone again. But then, a voice, soft, old, tired, but not unfriendly, calls out to you. Thought I heard someone out here. You rise slowly, turn toward the sound, and see her, the woman who now lives in the corner house. The one with ivy curling up the windows. She stands in a wool shawl, hair white as mist, eyes like dark honey. Her hands grip a mug, steam rising, and behind her warmth spills from the open door. You clear your throat. Try to sound like a normal person. Try to sound like someone who didn't just see a ghost, or a memory, or a promise made real. I used to live here, you say, as if that explains everything. She nods. Many people did, but not many come back. Then she pauses, looks down at your hand. Her gaze lingers on the button, longer than it should. You notice, but say nothing. I'm Nora, she says. I make soup that's too salty and tea that's too sweet. But if you're cold, you're welcome to both. Something in her voice is familiar, not her tone, not her words, but the rhythm, as if she's part of this, as if she's always been part of this. You nod slowly and follow her in the house. Smells of time and ash, and something older, something that clings to wood and carpet, something like time. You sit on a velvet chair near the fire. She hands you the tea and watches you as you warm your hands around the mug. After a while she speaks again. You saw him, didn't you? You blink, say nothing. She nods, sips from her own cup. Most don't believe me when I say he's still here, but I've seen him. To you finally find your voice. He waited. She nods again. He always did, he always will. The fire crackles, the rain outside softens, as if listening. She leans forward. You're the reason he stayed. You look at the button again. Feel its weight grow heavier in your hand. Nora watches you, and then says something even stranger. But you're not the only one who left something behind you. Raise your eyes, and she smiles gently. I think the house wants you to remember all of it. You spend the night there, unable to leave, not out of fear, but something else, something like a tether, a thread that you didn't realize was still tied around your heart. You dream that night, but it's not a dream, not real. Back in that moment 13 years ago, the sky's bruised, the trees drip, and you are shouting. You don't remember what, just that it was loud, and that he didn't shout back. He just looked at you, eyes big and wet, like the world was ending. And maybe it always ends a little when we leave someone behind. You wake with tears on your face. The fire now just embers. Nora sits in the corner knitting, quiet as breath. She doesn't ask about your dreams, but she hands you a small box, worn Wooden locked, it's his. She says he left it with me. Said to give it to you if you ever came back. Your fingers tremble as you touch it. The lock is cold and tight, but it gives with a gentle twist inside. Letters tied with a thin black thread, each one dated, each one written in his small, neat hand. You unfold. The first it reads, simply, Day 2. Still waiting. The sky is less angry today. I think you'll come soon. You can't stop the tears, you don't even try. Letter after letter, some longer, some short. But all of them hold a single theme: waiting, watching, hoping, and then a shift midway through the stack. A darker tone, a sadness, Day 87. I think maybe you're lost. I hope it wasn't something I said. I've made tea for 2 every day. I leave the chair empty, just in case. Your chest aches and Nora, still knitting, says softly, you were just a child, but he loved like an old soul. You nod because it's true, because you feel it now so fully. The final letter is sealed in blue wax. Your name on the front inside. The words are trembling, faded at the edges, but still legible. If you ever read this, it means you remembered. And if you remembered, then I can rest. That's all. You close the letter, hold it to your chest, and feel something inside you crack, not in a breaking way, but in a releasing wave. The next morning the rain has stopped, the street is washed clean, but when you step outside, you see footprints leading down the road, small, familiar, fading. You follow them, heart pounding, not fast, but deep. Footprints lead to the bakery's ruins, and behind the broken door, you find something impossible: his scarf dry, folded, tucked inside the windowsill. You pick it up, and for a moment the world goes quiet. Then a whisper, not from outside, but from within. I'm okay now. You came back. That's all I needed. You press the scarf to your cheek and whisper back, I'm sorry I took so long. The wind moves softly, like fingers in your hair, and you feel for the first time in years, light trio, gentle, forgiving, when you return to Nora's. She's gone, no sign she was ever there. No mug, no yarn, no fire. No fire, just a note on the table. Some friends wait in the rain, others wait in time. He did both. Now it's your turn to go. You step outside, and for the first time, the house behind you feels empty, because it gave you what you needed, and now you're free. You walk down the street, past the corner, past the lamp, and though the rain begins again, you do not hide from it, because some memories are meant to fall softly, like the rain. The rain falls gently again, not cold, not harsh, just soft, like a memory returning without anger. Walk, not sure where you're going, but your feet seem to know, like the road is guiding you, step by step, breath by breath. The city looks different. Not because it's changed, but because you're seeing it with eyes that have opened again to what was always there. The cracks in the sidewalk that still remembered childhood. The brick wall that still carries your names in faint chalk. The drain pipe you dared each other to climb. The corner where he first showed you how to whistle with grass you pass. The park, the one with the rusted carousel. And the swings that creak even without wind. You hesitate, then walk through the gate. Everything is still. No children, no laughter, just puddles and the soft drip of leaves on there on the swing. You see it, a journal wrapped in plastic, tied with twine. Dry beneath the shelter of an old oak. You untie it carefully, your hands remembering the way his fingers once moved, precise, gentle, the way he used to fix things. You broke without scolding. You inside. A sketch of you smiling, rain on your cheeks, eyes closed, drawn in pencils so soft you can barely believe it still exists. Below it, his handwriting, Day 300. I dreamt you smiled again. Your breath catches the pages, continue, not always dated, not always full. Some are just scribbles, thoughts, fragments. I left you a map in the music box. Don't follow unless you're ready to remember everything. The tree remembers. The stones remember. But will you? The music box, it hits you like thunder. That little wooden fox-shaped one with the tiny golden key. You'd kept it under your bed as children. You thought it was lost. You thought you'd buried it when he vanished. You hurry fast now, down roads still wet and shining, toward the house you grew up in. It's different now. New curtains, new flowers in the yard, but the bones of it are the same. And your body remembers each step of the porch, each creak of the stair. Each breath of air through the narrow hallway. You ring the bell, a woman opens, kind, wary, but when you explain, when you show her the journal and the letter and the button, she lets you in. She leads you to your old room, a painted pale green with children's toys on the shelves, but in the back of the closet, behind the new boxes. She finds it. The music box sits dustier than you imagined, the paint chipped. But the key is still there. You wind it slowly, and it begins to play a tune you haven't heard in years, a lullaby he used to hum when you cried. And then with a click, the false bottom lifts. Inside a map drawn by hand on crumpled paper, faded ink, but clear enough to follow. It leads out of town, past the river, into the woods where you used to play, where stories were real and time forgot itself. You go alone. You don't tell anyone. You don't need to, because some journeys are meant only for youth. Woods are quiet, damp moss clings to the trees. The path is narrow, but marked with stones, painted blue, just like the button you walk for hours. Rain still falling, but now it feels different, less like weather, more like a voice calling. And when the sun begins to sink, you see it, a cabin hidden behind ivy and silence, made of stone and wood. Roofs, sagging windows, dark. You step inside, dust everywhere, but not untouched there. As a blanket on the chair, books open, pencils beside the journal, and a note on the table. Your name, you've come this far. Then you've forgiven me, or maybe you've forgiven yourself. Either way, you're ready. Tears slip quietly down your cheeks. No sobbing, just release, just weight falling off bones. In the far corner, a door partly open. Beyond it, a small room empty, except for a mirror and a coat, his coat shoe run. Your fingers along the fabric, still torn at the cuffs, still soft at the collar. And inside the pocket, a photograph of the two of you on the first day of school. He's smiling. You're laughing, and written on the back, don't forget who you are. When I'm gone, you sit on the floor, surrounded by silence, surrounded by memory. And you close your eyes, you see him clearer than ever. Not a ghost, not a child, but a soul, steady, gentle, waiting. Am here now, you whisper. In that moment, you feel it, a presence, a warmth, a whisper. Then I can finally go, and somehow you're okay with that. Night falls in the forest, but the darkness doesn't frighten you, because you carry light now in your chest, in your hands, in your steps. You sleep in the cabin, wrapped in his coat, the music box by your side, and for the first time in 13 years, you dream without sorrow. You dream of laughter, of chasing fireflies, of building forts in the rain, and he is there, not waiting, just walking beside you. And when you wake, the sun has returned, the trees are gold with morning, and the path is clear. Again you step out into the light, and the forest exhales somewhere behind you. The cabin fades, not into nothing, but into memory, and you begin walking home. But you are not the same. You carry pieces of him, of you, of all the years that passed in silence. And in your pocket, the final note you found, folded tight, soft, from his hands. Thank you for remembering me. Now, go live like I always hoped you would, loudly, kindly, bravely, completely. The road home is long, but you walk it without fear. Each step a heartbeat, each breath a return. There's no need to rush, because what once chased you is no longer behind you. The past is no longer a weight, but a rhythm, a quiet song under your feet. Sun filters through the trees, not harsh, just warm, like the memory of a hug, like the way he used to pull you close in silence. No words, just presence. You stop at the river, the one that always ran too fast to cross, but today it is gentle and clear. You sit beside it. Let your fingers trail through the water, cool, alive, carrying leaves, carrying time. You take out the last letter, the one you found folded in the lining of the coat. The paper almost weightless, the ink faded, but the meaning burns. If you're reading this, then you made it to the end, not of the road, but of the forgetting. You remembered who we were, what we were, and now it's your turn to begin again. You read it 3 times, then once more, until the words aren't just letters, But breath your breath, you let the letter go. Let it float into the river, not as an ending, but as a gift, because you are done carrying guilt. And ready to carry love. The wind shifts a sound behind you. You turn, half expecting him again, but no one is. There, and somehow that's okay. You rise, keep walking past the fence he carved his name into, past the tree where you buried your first shared secret, past the trail where he tripped and laughed until he cried. World is full of his echoes, but they are gentle now, not haunting, just holding. When you reach the edge of the town, you pause, not because you're unsure, but because crossing back means bringing all of this with you. You are ready. The streets are different, wider, busier, but the people pass you like before, not knowing, not asking, and yet you feel something change. You smile, and for the first time in a long while, you mean a tat. Your apartment. The key turns smoother than ever. The silence inside is not hollow, it's waiting. You take off your coat, hang his beside yours, not to forget, but to remember. Gently you boil water, pour tea, place the music box on the table, and wind it once. Tune begins soft, familiar, like it never stopped. You open a new journal, the pages blank, but not empty. At the top of the first page, you write, Day 1. I smiled today. Days begin to pass, and you begin to live. Not just survive, not just exist, but live. Take walks in the rain, not to find him, but to feel close to what he left in you. You talk out loud sometimes, say things he would have laughed at. You feel him near when you light a candle, when you see bluebirds, when you hear the creak of swings in empty parks. You go to the old bookstore, the one you both loved, and tucked in the back corner you find a novel you both swore you'd read. One day you buy it, underline every sentence. He would have liked to volunteer. You sit with lonely children and tell them stories of waiting, of friendship, of not giving up, and never walking away. One evening at the cafe near the station, a boy about 9 years old walks up to you, his eyes wide, his jacket blue, and he says, you drop this in his hand, a button, not the one you found, but an exact match, same thread, whole same shade. You take it. Neil, where did you find it? He shrugs. On the bench outside. It was warm, like it had just been held. You thank him, he smiles and walks away. You sit there for a long time, holding the button, feeling the rain begin again. Soft, kind, steady. That night, you dream of the cabin, but this time, it's different. There's light in the window, a fire inside, laughter and music. He sitting at the table, sketching, and when he sees you, he smiles, but doesn't get up, doesn't speak. He just lifts his hand, places it over his heart, and nods once. You do the same, and wake with tears on your pillow. But they're not heavy, they're light, like mist. Months pass, then years, and though the seasons turn, you never forget to visit the tree. Sometimes, the one near the old trail, you carve a message, just once I came back. It's still there, even after the bark thickens. Even after storms. You fall in love one day. Years later, unexpected, soft. You tell them the story, and they listen, not with disbelief, but reverence, like they understand what it means to wait and to be waited for. They never ask you to forget him. Instead, they help you remember better. Together, you plant a tree in the garden and tie a blue ribbon around its trunk. Every year on the same rainy evening, you write him a letter, light a candle when the music box once, and let it play. You imagine him somewhere not far, not gone, just waiting for you to live well, so that when you meet again, you'll have stories to share. That is how you carry him, not with grief, but with grace, because you were the one who left, but you also came back, and in that return you became more than you ever thought you could be. Not just the friend who was waited for, but the friend who finally understood what it means to stay even when it rains. The years go by like soft pages in a quiet book. No rush, no noise, just time moving the way it always meant to. You grow older, but not heavier. Because you've learned how to carry things differently, you still walk in the rain, sometimes not because you're searching, but because it feels like home now, like a hymn only your heart remembers. There are days you forget, and days you remember everything. But neither feels wrong anymore, because both are part of how healing works, like breathing in and out, holding and letting go. One morning while sorting old boxes, you find something you hadn't seen in years. Cassette tape labeled only with his name, faint handwriting. Smudged at the edge. You don't own a player anymore, but something in your chest begins to ache, so you borrow one from the library, plug it in, and press play. Static, then his voice. You forget how much it once sounded like a place, not just a sound. Hi, if you're hearing this, then either I found a way to be clever, or you found a way to come back. I don't know which is better, maybe both. You laugh softly, eyes already wet. I wanted to say something before I forgot how I wanted you to know that I was never angry, not once, not even when the days grew long and the sky stopped smiling. I just missed you. That's all. Silence on the tape. Then the click of him breathing. Do you remember the day we built the fort in your yard? We swore the world couldn't touch us. That's how I felt every time you smiled, like nothing could ever get in. Even the rain. He pauses again, longer. This time, I don't know where I'll go when I stop waiting. Maybe I'll just sleep or become part of the wind. But if I do, and if you ever feel the breeze on the back of your neck when there's no wind at all, that's me saying, hey. You press stop and sit for a long time. No tears now, just stillness. You tuck the tape back into the box, label it with a new word, promise. You begin writing again. Stories you both imagined, tales of children who build homes in the clouds, of maps that lead to lost friends, of rivers that carry memory. You publish a book, dedicated simply for the boy who waited in the rain. You place a copy on the bench where he used to sit, wrapped in plastic, tied with twine, and walk away without looking back. You don't need to look anymore because he's with you. In your words, in your footsteps, in the gentle hush of every quiet evening. One evening, you get a letter. No return address, just a name. Yours inside, a photograph. Two children in the rain, one holding an umbrella, the other looking up at the sky with his mouth open, and a note. Some promises travel farther than memory. Some stay even when we don't. You kept yours. Thank you. No signature, just the echo of something finished and yet forever alive. You keep the photo by your bed, not out of grief, but reverence, because not all love is lost. Some love simply changes shape. Your life becomes full, not busy, not loud, just full. Take time. You listen more. You learn the shape of quiet things, the way light enters through leaves, the rhythm of distant trains, the softness of a goodbye whispered into wind. You grow old, and you are not afraid, because when the rain falls, it still brings comfort, not sorrow. And when people ask what happened to your childhood friend, you say he waited, and then he walked with me, because that's the truth. Even if the world never saw him again. One day, when the world has grown tired, and you have to, you walk back to the tree, taller, now wiser, and at its base, you leave one last letter folded, unsealed. I lived just like you wanted me to. You place the button beside it, the one that always reminded you that someone believed in forever. And when you walk away, you do so with peace in your spine, with strength in your chest, with light in your steps. The clouds gather, but they do not frighten you, because you are not someone who fears the rain. You are the one who came back. You are the one who stayed on, far behind you in the hush of leaves and the hum of sky. You hear his voice laughing, not waiting, just there always.